The Greek philosophers didn't have any time for Christianity. They said it was slave religion. It was slave theology. Nietzsche said the same thing. People are saying the same thing today. Christians are saying this today. They want to wave Jesus around like a flag, but they have no time for anything that he taught us. What it really means is they love their culture more than they love our Lord. This is what Jesus teaches us. If you want to be first, you've got to be last. You've got to be the servant of all. You've got to receive the child. You've got to love the people that can't help you. And you know, there will never ever be a shortage of men claiming that they have outgrown this truth. There will always be some new philosopher coming along and saying, yes, that's all very nice, but you know, that's how they oppress you. That's how they keep you down. They keep all the Christians keeping themselves humble so that they can be exalted and they can be powerful. So that's why I want to be powerful. So I'm going to stop being meek and stop being humble and stop loving people. Never seen a happy fellow that had that philosophy. I've seen a few that were successful for a short time. Although usually the people that preach those kinds of doctrines, they're not successful in their life. They're successful in selling suckers on this weird system they've invented and buy my book and subscribe to my Patreon. That's how they get rich, is off of you. But there's always these people. You know, the Greek philosophers didn't have any time for Christianity. They said it was slave religion. It was slave theology. Nietzsche said the same thing. People are saying the same thing today. Christians are saying this today. They want to wave Jesus around like a flag, but they have no time for anything that he taught us. What it really means is they love their culture more than they love our Lord. And that will not end well, will it? You say to somebody like that, okay, all right, you want to see Jesus lifted high, you want the church to be exalted, and you want wickedness to be put down. Okay, I know what you hate. What do you love? Do you love your neighbor as yourself? Do you turn the other cheek when you're struck? Do you pray for your enemies and for those who abuse you? Are you willing to be a servant of all? And they always say things like, that's the kind of thinking that got us in this mess. Well, it's the kind of thing that Jesus taught us. And guess what? It was never popular. I've been reading through a history, actually, real pleasant reading, a history of abortion in the United States, going back to before the Constitution and all that, all the way back. And what has astonished me is less the historical stories of abortion and famous legal cases, but the context around it. I was reading today about in the 1850s, how there was a rise of spiritism and seances, and this was a wave crashing over the country, and they were saying things like, we are God, and no one can tell us what to do, and that's why the Bible needs to be thrown out, we got to get rid of the Lord, and it's like, wow, there's folks in 2024 thinking they're the first ones that came up with that. We've never been popular as believers. The Lord sends revival, and the nation is exalted, and people look back and say, well, we could have done that without Jesus anyway. No, you couldn't. There will never be a shortage of men claiming to have outgrown this truth. Their greatness is fleeting, though, and only that which God bestows is going to last forever. You've got to serve those around you. Be the servant. There's never any crowding at the foot of the table. Nobody's ever fighting each other to be the servant. I said, no, I want to be the head. I want to be in charge. I want to be up towards the head of the table. Let them fight. We'll serve each other. Christians have to be the ones that are willing to bear that for the sake of those that we love. This is where the rubber meets the road when it comes to servant leadership, when it comes to love. You believe in these things, about the first being last and so on. But are you going to live it out? Because theory only means so much without action. The disciples had heard Jesus give the Sermon on the Mount and everything else, and yet they were still jealous people. They were still ambitious people. They were fighting to be first. And they couldn't imagine anybody who's not with us because he might do better than us. John, the Baptist disciple, said the same thing. They got angry when more people were going to hear Jesus than John. And John the Baptist said, he must increase, but I must decrease. This is why I came, John said. So as we look at this story, and we're talking about servant leadership, and we're talking about not being selfishly ambitious, vainglorious. We use the word servant, and it's very clean and very tidy, and it sounds more respectful than slave, but that would be just an equally possible translation in these passages. Who's Paul? Who's an Apollos? Slaves. They're just doing what they're told. They don't have a life of their own. You're not worried about them. You're worried about their master, who is our Lord Jesus. Well, I don't really like people treating me like that. Yeah, that's what Gail Irwin says. Gail Irwin, he said, everybody loves the idea of being a servant until somebody starts treating you like one. well, I'm serving you. You should be respecting me and honoring me. No, that's not how it works. The servant doesn't get respect and honor. The master gets respect and honor. And if you're serving somebody else, they are in effect your master at that moment. Are you okay with that? We're red-blooded, Republican, democratic Americans. We don't like the idea of anybody being our master. We're individuals. We're independent. We do what we want. Yep, that means it's hard for us to receive some of these things. But we're citizens of heaven first. We're servants of the King first, right? Jesus gave us a mission. And if we're going to fulfill that mission, we've got to do it according to his design. What did Jesus do? What's his example? The King of Kings, the one that's going to rule and reign forever and ever. He humbled himself. He died on a cross. And he purchased our salvation with the ultimate humiliation, the death on a cross. So how can we be selfish and prideful when we try to lead? How can we say, well, when I swagger, that's just kind of how I do it. People like to see that. Let the world come up with their theories of leadership. They're not new. They're carnal. They're perversions. They see this life as the only life that matters. If you're not on top now, you'll never be on top. The Christian knows better. Knows that, first of all, it makes a much better world if everybody loves each other and serves each other. And number two, the Lord said, this is what greatness in the kingdom that's going to last way longer than this one looks like. That rock that is going to smash in pieces every kingdom and then spread and become that mountain that covers the whole world. Where are you investing your energy and your time?